The third counter is CGN, China Guangdong Nuclear Power. It's the sole platform for nuclear power generation of China General Nuclear Power Corporation. It's a subsidiary of CGNPC. Okay, CGN Power builds, operates, and manages nuclear power plants. Abbreviation NPP, sells electricity generated by these nuclear power plants and organizes to develop the design and research and development of NPPs. The company is the largest nuclear power developer and operator in China in terms of installed capacity in operation. There are two Zhonghe China Nuclear Power and two operators in China, CGN, China Guangdong Nuclear Power, and China Nuclear Power. And CGN is the largest nuclear power developer and operator in China in terms of installed capacity in operation. The company's share of installed nuclear power capacity in operation and under construction ranks number 1 in the domestic market. Okay, this is the equity structure. It's owned by CGN, its parent company, majority shareholder, owning 58.89% in the share in the company, and then Hang Jian Investment holds 6.79%. Other A-share investors own 10%. X-share investors own 21%. So the company is listed both on the Asian market as well as in Hong Kong. In the first quarter, total revenue increased by 4.88% to 19.182 billion yuan. Profit attributable to shareholders increased by 3.4% to 3.6 billion yuan. Basic earnings per share increased by 2.9% to 0.071 yuan per share. And weighted average return on net assets was 3.13%, a slight decrease of 0.08 percentage points. The final dividend for 2023 is 9.4 fund per share. Dividend yield is about 3.5%. So for CGN Power, the selling point is not that much on dividend yield. It's more on the future, the growth prospect, because it's of nuclear power development in China. As at the end of 2023, the company managed 27 nuclear power generating units in operation and 11 nuclear power generating units under construction, including 6 units which were entrusted to the company by the controlling shareholder of the company for management. Okay, so that's why I mentioned just now we are upbeat on the growth prospect, because besides the 27 nuclear power generating units which are already in operation, it has 11 nuclear power generating units under construction. Okay. This is the average utilization hours of renewable energy in China. That's for in the first quarter as a whole, for the whole country. Nuclear, the utilization hours is the highest, 1,828 hours, the average utilization hours. Second is thermal, 1,128 hours, and then followed by wind power, the utilization hours, average utilization hours are 596. Hydro is dependent on rainfall. Sometimes utilization hours is very dependent on rainfall. 555 hours in the first quarter this year. And solar also dependent on how much sunshine or the length of fine weather. The average utilization hours is the lowest among the 5 different types of renewable energies. Okay, this dividend distribution ratio is growing continuously. You can see here on the preconditions, there are no significant changes, and approval is obtained from the AGM of the relevant fiscal year. The company aims to achieve a moderate increase in the annual dividend ratio from 2021 to 2025 based on the dividend ratio in 2020. 2020 is 42.25%. So its dividend payout ratio has been increasing from 42.25% in 2020 to 44.26% last year. And it's expected to continue to increase to close to 50%, 48% payout ratio in this year and 2025. Okay, you can see absolute amount dividend per share also increased steadily from 2019 to 2023. Average utilization hours since 2023, its average utilization hours stood above 1,800. In the first quarter of 2023 was 1,835, and despite a slight drop in the first quarter year on year, the first quarter this year, its average utilization hours still stood above 1,800, 1802. Okay, on-grid power generation in total and by region. The company, this is 2022, 23, and 24. 24, the total on-grid power generation was 51,814 gigawatt hour in the first quarter this year. And this is the regional distribution, geographical distribution. Most of its power, the company is known as China Guangdong Nuclear Power. So more than half of its power generation, on-grid power generation, comes from Guangdong. You can see here, 28,374 gigawatt hour. And then 6,657 gigawatt hour comes from Fujian, also another 5,000 from Guangxi, and then 12,169 from Liaoning. This is the geographical distribution of the company's power generation. Okay, average market-based power tariff. Okay, the change in power tariff will affect the earnings of the company. If power tariff goes up, of course, the company will be able to earn more. But if power tariff comes down, the company will saw a decline in its profit. Yet in the last 3 years, you can see here, the company's power tariff remains rather stable, around 0.4 yuan per kilowatt hour Okay. Expected install capacity in operation managed by the company in the next 5 years. This is the growth prospect. This year is expected install capacity in operation expected to be around 31,756 megawatt. This is megawatt. Next year, it will grow, is expected to grow to 32,958. And in 2026, it will further increase to 35,368. 2027, it will reach 37,776 megawatts. And by 2028, it will be close to 39,000 megawatts. Okay, what are the recommendation reasons? The construction cost of nuclear power is high, accounting for 50% to 60% of the total cost. So the entry barriers are high. Okay, and pursuant to the Nuclear Energy Development and Prospects in China 2023, issued by the China Nuclear Energy Association in July 2023, China has retained its #1 position in the world ranking in terms of the size of nuclear power generating units under construction. The installed capacity of nuclear power generating units is expected to further expand in China, and the use of nuclear energy will play multiple roles. So China is very supportive of nuclear power, and it will build more nuclear power generating or nuclear power plants in the next 10 years. And being the largest player, CGN Power will stand to benefit from this expansion policy. Chinese and global energy industry is shifting towards green and low carbon development, and China strives to achieve carbon dioxide emissions peaking before 2030 and carbon neutrality before 2060, this so-called Shuangtan, which provides us with broad prospects of nuclear power development. With both low valuation and high dividends, the company has a high investment cost effectiveness at the current point in time. The nuclear power industry and the hydropower industry have similar characteristics, such as high dividend yield and stable ROE, but the valuation level of the nuclear power industry is significantly lower than the hydropower industry, which belongs to the valuation depression in the power sector. China Electricity Council released the 2023-2024 National Electricity Supply and Demand Situation Analysis and Forecast Report. The report predicted that by the end of 2024, the national installed power generation capacity is expected to reach 3.25 billion kilowatts, a year-on-year increase of about 12%. And the new installed power generation capacity in 2024 will exceed 300 million kilowatts again. Taking into account factors such as the macroeconomy and energy electrification, it is estimated that the total electricity consumption in 2024 will be 9.8 trillion kilowatt hours, kWh, an increase of about 6% over 2023. Okay, so I think the overall picture is we expect more electricity consumption going forward, especially AI. It is believed that AI will spur electricity consumption. And China is more dependent on nuclear power than other countries. And CGN Power, being one of the largest player, will benefit from supportive policy from the government. According to the statistics from the 2023 National Power Industry Statistics Overview issued by the China Electricity Council, the CEC, as of December 31st, 2023, the installed capacity of nuclear power generating units in operation was 56.91 gigawatt in the PRC, accounting for only 1.9% of the total installed capacity of power generation. So the proportion of nuclear power still remains very small in China's national energy structure. So there's a lot of room for growth going forward. From first quarter 2024, share of nationwide installed nuclear capacity is 1.9%, and share of nationwide nuclear power generation is 4.64%. Okay, you can see in this table. Okay, share price like very similar to Bank of China and CNOOC. Actually, the share price outperformed the market this year, and yet it's still the white line represent 1816 CGN compared to its peers. is only trading at 1 times, slightly higher than 1 times P-book, whereas the average the P-book of the market average is 1.53 times. So now the book value last year at the end of 2023 for the company for CGN was 2.24 yuan. Hong Kong dollar, it will be around 2.45 Hong Kong dollars. So if its valuation narrow, I mean the gap with its the market average narrow, we are not looking at 1.5 times P-book, moving up to 1.5 times P-book. We are looking at just 1.3 times P-book. There will be 30% upside in the share price. Currently, it's trading at 290. So we are looking at 350, target price of 350. Okay. CGN, the dividend yield now is 1.03 times, and there's another the China nuclear is a competitor, is listed on the Shanghai market, 601985. The P-book is 1.94 times, higher than the market average. So we're looking at 1.3 times P-book to be the a fairer valuation for the company. Dividend yield 4.2%, more attractive than CNNC, listed in Shanghai. Operating profit margin also higher. Earning per share was 0.232 Hong Kong dollars.